Brad, before you begin, I'd like to thank you for your patience. I know you've been there for a while, and I know you're eager to start. Is there anything else?
I enjoyed the text.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did.
I'm going to watch on this side.
Which is more fun.
33.
Mr. Chair and members, I know this is a candidate for suspense, so I'll be brief. I'd like to begin by just thanking you and your staff for working with my office on this issue. We've gone through numerous iterations of this bill, and so I want to thank you for the time that you all put into this. So AB 33 is intended to accomplish two goals. First, create jobs in California, and second, increase funding for our public universities. AB 33 proposes a patent box regime by taxing certain California-sourced income at a lower rate. A patent box is literally a box on the tax form for qualified taxpayers to check. It is simply a tax incentive that allows corporate income from the sale of patent product to be taxed at a significantly lower rate than other income. Several European countries have enacted this tax initiative or incentive. AB 33 would allow a tax credit in the amount equal to 15% of qualified royalties paid by a company for the use of a qualified patent from the University of California or the California State University system. I think it's important to note that at the federal level, Senator Feinstein is also preparing to introduce similar legislation, and California would be the first in the United States to lead this effort and promote the commercialization of innovation. Just one example. In the United Kingdom, GlaxoSmithKline invested nearly $800 million to build a new manufacturing facility with the potential to create 1,000 new jobs. Their decision behind this investment, according to their CEO, was based on the new UK patent box policy that recently took effect. AB 33 would help level the playing field for California and encourage companies to invest here, creating the jobs that Californians need. And when this gets off, or when you hear this in suspense, I respectfully ask for an act.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brad. Do you have any witnesses here in support of your motion?
Yes, good afternoon to chair and members. Jason Murphy on behalf of the University of California. It's certainly the case that whether you're talking about biotechnology, telecommunications, computers, or other environmental research, it's certainly been the University of California that's led the discovery and led the way for California to be leading, in fact, the world in these variety of different areas. However, it's also true that bringing these viable technologies to market is also one of the more challenging issues that our system and our state faces. And so, therefore, we're very appreciative of AB 33. The university has been trying mightily in the last several years to try to speed up the commercialization of our research and bring it to the marketplace. We think this will help us do that.
Thank you very much. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Tim Hawley of TechNet, who represent the nation's leading technology companies in sectors such as biotechnology, information technology, clean energy, and venture capital. Many of them are based in California. And TechNet is delighted to join with our leading public research universities in support of AB 33, which would incent emerging growth companies to commercialize the research that is performed in California public universities. It encourages investment in university research at a time of tight budgets, and it also positions the states, this state, and specifically, more specifically our universities, to better convert the state's tremendous leadership in research into the development and commercialization of new products and services. As the chairman mentioned, and this is mentioned in the analysis, AB 33 builds on the concept of innovation box that has been adopted in 7 European countries, leading to development and commercialization activities there that created new jobs and investment. In our view, it represents a promising, creative policy lever that could build on the tremendous talent that resides in our universities and positions California-based companies to compete here. Not only to innovate, but to scale and produce, build on what they innovate here. So it's an important step. We urge your support. Thank you very much.
Any other witnesses in support?
Kelly Hitt on behalf of Tech America. We are in support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any witnesses in support?
Thank you, Alex Solano, on behalf of the California Healthcare Institute, represent the biomedical industry in California, along with UCs here.
Thank you for your testimony. Any witnesses here in opposition to this bill?
California Tax Reform Association. We tried hard to get our head around this because it's innovative and new, but we have a 24% credit for research already at the university. That's the highest in the country. We then heard consistently from biotech and high tech that single sales was the key to commercializing the R&D products that have been developed in California. And that's because for biotech, let's say, you sell all over the world or all over the country, and your factors are not included when you are investing in California. So that was the panacea at pretty high cost, we believe, we'll see the numbers as they come in, to commercializing the R&D economy that we already have the highest tax credits in the nation for. Now, intellectual property is the most valuable part of that. And what we've seen with intellectual property is that often it's located in, now that wouldn't be the case, the bill would not allow that, it is located in offshore locations so that money can come in for pharmaceuticals or come in for high tech and sit in the Cayman Islands and not be taxed either in the United States or California. So the issue, if the issue is commercialization, that was the 100% the argument for single sales, which we have implemented, which is to say very low cost when you commercialize a product. For R&D, as we know, we are the highest in the country. We give a big, higher than the federal credit with regard to the university system in the credits that we provide. So we see this as just another mode of tax avoidance, even though we've already granted pretty much everything that the high-tech and R&D industry would like.
Any other witnesses in opposition to this measure? Any questions from the committee? Okay.
A couple questions, and I appreciate the innovative thinking that went behind this particular bill. First of all, the FTB did raise a concern I was curious to know whether you were planning to address or not, about the patent, for patents actually owned by UC or CSU, and that in terms of whether we'd also allow credits for royalties for patents that were donated, in other words, I guess with universities potentially may have some benefit to the university financially, but basically be a holding but not sure we want to have people wash the patents through the university the way to get tax credit, so that the ownership of the patent is because of the work that was done, not just really because of a donation. I know you have a different perspective on that.
Well, no, I mean, certainly we don't want to create a system where, to use your words, closer to wash the patents through the university system. I mean, the intent behind this is to really get, well, first let me take a step back. If I felt like we could afford it, I would have the patent box apply to everyone, not to, to all folks that are looking to commercialize their innovations, not just within the UC and CSU system. The reason I narrowed it down to that is simply because of cost. And so as I was looking to address the cost issue, I also wanted to see if there was an opportunity for the state to benefit as well. So that's why I narrowed it down to the UC and CSU system. So I'm not trying to create a system in which corporations can wash their patents through the UC and CSU system, but what I'm really trying to do is allow some of these partnerships that have occurred between the private sector and our university systems, and quite frankly, to encourage more of that to help speed up the process of commercializing these patents, because quite frankly, these are great opportunities for us to create good local paying jobs.
So just to clarify, then you're focusing this on work that was actually performed, patents that resulted from work or research performed at the universities then?
Well, that's certainly where the priority is, but I do think that there could be some, I could see some opportunities where a corporation would want to partner with this UC and CSU system, but the idea is, going back to answer your question directly, just to commercialize those ventures that come out as a result of that partnership.
Well, I think the idea is not that I have a patent and I will get tax credits, I'm going to donate to the UC so I can get a tax. And then the second question is, I know, and maybe you don't know if you have the answer to that because it was an FTB estimate, the fiscal impact in terms of the revenue loss, approximately 23 million, 25 million. Is that simply a straight revenue loss from tax credit itself, or do they do a dynamic analysis in terms of the additional tax revenue we gain from the job creation that might result from this. I don't know how that analysis is
The
done.
state never does a dynamic approach.
So actually, this would be the worst case scenario if actually no additional jobs are created from the investment. So there's actually there's an upside from this, even, and while certainly this is money, it's a significant amount. It's in terms of our whole budget. It's part of the experiment, I guess.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I believe Mr. Stanton has a question.
Thank you. You kind of answered this, right, in the sense that we wish it would apply to other ventures, but I guess that's my question, just as a philosophy, though. If we're saying here that taxes do matter as far as developing products and commercializing them and making them, do we hesitate in picking one particular group over another as opposed to having a more broad-based, attractive tax policy for companies?
Well, I mean, let me say, I would agree with your comment. I believe taxes do matter. But quite frankly, we just can't do everything for everybody. So I think that as we look for opportunities to create innovative tax policy, we have to be very targeted in how we do that. So I come to the committee, to the chair of the committee, with that perspective. And as a former member of Revenue Taxation Committee, I understand how difficult it can be for all of us who want to incentivize more job creation by providing tax incentives, but we just can't do all of it. So I think we need to be smart, we need to be targeted, and I think this is one of those opportunities where we can do that.
I mean, that is a good point. I mean, a lot of times you want to play to your strengths, and that does seem to be our strength in California's innovation. And, but I do like the bill and appreciate you bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions on behalf of the committee? Mr. King?
Just one question. I'm very supportive of anything that we can do to reduce the risk of innovation. There's a huge amount of risk in terms of this research and this work. I was curious, given the opposition's point, why in particular focus on royalties? And I guess they made the point of there are numerous other incentives in place, so would this additional incentive actually make a difference, or would it increase the amount of people taking risks?
So I believe it will make a difference, or else I wouldn't be here in front of you presenting the bill. I mean, I think we should be proud as a state that we have, if not the highest, one of the highest tax credits for R&D. I think we should be proud of that. I think we should look for opportunities to do more, to piggyback on that, to see where we can help corporations and companies turn their patents into jobs. And so I think that looking at opportunities to provide that at the commercialization piece of the process, I think is a complement to what we do with the R&D tax credit.
Seeing no other comments on behalf of the committee, Mr. Correa would like to close.
Just respectfully ask for an aye vote when you consider it on suspense.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.